For basket weaving, you need several different things. First, we're going to need some yarn. You can use more than one color. I'm going to use this basic Red Heart purple yarn. I'm also going to need a tapestry needle, and I want a little skinny piece of paper. That's going to help me thread my yarn onto my needle. You definitely need your own pair of scissors. You'll have to use those many times. And you want to start with about 15 feet of white cord. The first thing we need to do is take the end of the white cord and cut it at a long, skinny angle. Right now it's flat and we want it to be pointed. Alright, once that is nice and pointed, we are going to get our yarn ready. Now, we won't need our needle quite yet. We're going to start by wrapping yarn around the end of the cord. When you use your yarn, you definitely want to take the paper off. Once you take that off, you can throw it away if you want to. You don't really need it anymore. The yarn comes out in two ways. It comes out from around the outside, okay, and it also unravels from the middle. You don't want to use it from the middle. Just tuck that back in there because eventually it'll get tangled. So always take your yarn from the outside. When we get started, we're not going to cut anything yet. We are going to take the end of our piece of cord and wrap yarn around it. Now, people always want to start at this end, but you actually want to go in about, I'd say like 1.5 inches, and you're going to start wrapping the cord around up here. But what we want to do is cover this tail. We want to cover the whole end with the yarn. But the reason why I'm going this way is because then I can just wrap in my tail. So I hold my little tail there and I start to wrap around and I'm going towards the end. You want to make sure that you're really covering the white, okay, so that the white doesn't show through. I'll push it together a little bit if it shows. You want it nice and even. You just want one layer of yarn. It gets a little bit trickier to wrap the end. Gotta hold it nice and tight, and you just wrap as far as you can, trying to cover up that little tail. There'll be a point where it won't want to wrap around that anymore. So that's about good. Next, we're going to be turning it. You want to turn it on itself like this so that you can wrap around. This is going to be the center of your basket, and it's going to wrap around and around and around like this, okay? But in order to do that, now at this point, we need to cut our yarn and put a needle on. So I'm going to give myself a couple feet of yarn to work with, and then I'll cut it. And on this end, I'm going to put this through my tapestry needle. Sometimes it's kind of tricky just to get it through the hole. It splits a lot, so what you can do is take your long skinny piece of paper, wrap it around the yarn, and then feed it right through the needle. And you just pull it through. It's an easy way to get your yarn on your needle. Don't tie it or anything, just keep it a couple inches off of here. Now we need to get this fastened together. So I'm going to turn it, and I want kind of a U. I want the end to be at the same place as where I started, so they're even together. And then I'm going to wrap around several times to get those pieces good and stuck so it won't come apart. Then I start my coiling process. And I'm going to wrap down the length of the cord. Now, in order to wrap down the length of the cord, I want to have the cord sticking out from one way and the hand that's wrapping with the yarn over the other way. Otherwise, I'll get tangled. So I'm going to start wrapping, wrapping, wrapping. If you do get tangled up, I will show you how to hold your cord so that you don't get it tangled. Then we're just going to turn it, And once I get wrapped to the point where I'm kind of at this little hole in the middle here, I'm going to take it around, and instead of just wrapping down the cord, I'm going to wrap into the center, or I'm going to poke my needle through the center, pull it through, make sure that this is lined up right with where I ended, and I'm going to pull this nice and tight so that these pieces get snug together. I'm going to wrap around again because they like to pull apart, and I'm going to do it a second time to make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, once you have that nice and tight, you're going to continue to wrap down. I say wrap 7 times just around the white cord. So you're going to wrap once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Turn your cord and then go into the middle again. Once and twice into the middle. Make sure that your stitch that you just made lines up. You don't want it way over here. You want it right where we left off. Nice and tight. And then wrap down the cord 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At this point, I'm running out of yarn, so I'm going to have to add some more. We will do that on the next video clip.